The lawyer for a woman who was unfortunately violated with a cavity search by police in Texas has actually released video of that cavity search following a grand jury's decision to drop charges against the cops who performed that search. Now, to give you some background on the story, it occurred in Harris County, Texas back in June of 2015. And the woman who underwent a cavity search apparently ran a stop sign, and so cops pulled her over and alleged that they smelled marijuana. Now, after they failed to find any marijuana in her car, they decided to literally do a cavity search. And so they called a female officer to the scene, which took about an hour and a half based on the victim's account. And she performed a cavity search for a total of 11 minutes. Now, back in 2015, the woman did speak to CNN about what she experienced. I wanna show you that video first, and then I'll show you the dash cam video that we have. Take a look.
I couldn't move. My hands are already handcuffed behind me, so she pulls my pants down. And then she tells me to bend over. So, I kind of hesitated because I'm like, bend over, and I bent over, and she proceeded to stick her fingers in me. And I popped up immediately and I told her, no, what are you doing? You can't do that to me.
Okay, Anna, before we get to the dash cam video, guys, think about this in a couple of different ways. One, we have now prohibition on marijuana. It's insane. Like we had a prohibition on alcohol, which was insane. So imagine if that prohibition still existed and they're like, we suspect that you have something very, very dangerous, a can of beer on you that you will later drink. So we're going to do a cavity search. And they stick their fingers inside. I can't describe to you how insane that is.
And this isn't something that happened during the Nixon administration. This is something that happened in 2015 when a number of states had already legalized marijuana for medicinal use. Some states had already legalized it for recreational use. I mean, it's absurd that cops would perform a search so invasive in order to find marijuana, but they did it. Now, again, the dash cam footage was not released until recently when the grand jury decided to drop all charges against the cops who went through with performing this search. So I wanna show you the dash cam video. You don't see anything graphic, but I do want you to focus on the bottom right-hand side so you can kind of see what's going on. Gives you a sense of how they did it, and also please keep in mind that we're only showing you a small part of it. The full video is much longer, and that's where the 11-minute cavity search comes from. Anyway, take a look. Charnesia Corley is the name of the victim in this video, and it breaks my heart to know that there was no justice, to know that she had to go through something like that with a male officer shining a light on her, half-dressed body as a female officer is violating her, doing a cavity search over marijuana. By the way, another amazing fact to this story is they charged her with misdemeanor possession of marijuana. The charges were later dropped because they didn't find marijuana on her.
It looked like a rape, where they throw her down and one guy shines a light while the other person does this for 11 minutes. So it's a female officer. I don't think that makes it any better at all. And I don't care if they'd found a marijuana. I don't care if they found a bushel of marijuana. Even if she was a drug dealer, what's the part where you stick your fingers? Look, and imagine it's a guy. Okay, we suspect that you might have a joint on you. So we're gonna have a male officer hold you down for 11 minutes while we probe your anal cavity. For 11 minutes. How long can you probe a cavity? it's disgusting in every way imaginable.
And not only, I mean, the worst part about it is that a human being had to go through something like that. But another part of it is, really, this is what our resources go to? This is what taxpayer money funds? Is this really what's keeping people safe?
And it's our government, man. I don't want my representatives, I don't want my government, I don't want my cops with my taxpayer money doing this to other civilians. And if they do it to them, they could do it to us. And there, but for the grace of God, go all of you. Now, yes, it happens to African Americans disproportionately, so maybe white people think, it's not gonna happen to me, man. And sometimes they're right, but now increasingly, they're wrong. It's happening to white people, it's happening to everybody, because power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And what are we told the cops? You're always going to get away with it. And they did again here. So if you think they're not gonna do it to you, I think you are sorely mistaken.
They got away with it, and also, as we already pointed out, after still not finding anything, after raping this woman, you still file a report saying you found something. So it doesn't even matter.
Yeah,
it doesn't even matter. So they took their cues from society, thinking, hey, no matter what happens, this person's powerless and I can do whatever I want. When I say what happened, they're gonna believe me. It's human nature once someone gives you the absolute power to do that to other people and you think, oh, they're gonna back me up no matter what, you do it. And the other guy stands there. And when you get called in as this one cop to do it, oh, it was just a couple of bad apples. Hey, when are these good apples gonna pop up and say, hey, bad apples, I'm not gonna be one of you? Yeah. When is they gonna say, hey, we called you out here, female cop, to rape this woman, and she comes in and says, no. Yeah. When does that happen?
So one way that it could happen is if you hold them accountable, but they refuse to. And if you're a conservative and you've been saying your whole life, oh, big government's terrible, this is big government. This is government so out of control that they're inside our bodies to find a recreational drug that a huge percentage of the country uses, and now a huge percent of the country has made legal. And in this case, they didn't even find it and they lied about it. If you're not worried about this kind of jackbooted thugs, that's what the right wing used to always talk about, jackbooted thugs. What is this? So the whole country should be united on this issue. We can't let our own government treat us this way. We've got to reform how we train the police, and there's got to be consequences when they do something wrong. Help us build independent media. Become a member of the Young Turks. TYTnetwork.com/join.